Hello and welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk about safe sleeping positions. Now if you're in your 20s, you might think that's the most boring topic ever, so please feel free to move on to the next video. I won't be at all offended. But if you're like me and you're into your 30s, 40s, maybe beyond, you know that it's a real thing. Sleeping injuries happen. So today I'm going to show you the two most safe sleeping positions. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for how to properly position your body so that you can alleviate neck tension and pain, shoulder and hip pain. And then I'm going to show you a secret tip, and it's how to actually protect your neck when you're transitioning from one sleep position to the other. It's a golden tip, you don't want to miss it, so stay tuned. So let's talk about back sleeping first. The most common thing that people do is they put a pillow underneath the back of their head, which pushes their head downward. But what you really need to do is put a pillow that supports the middle of your neck here. So many of the flat pillows, even the fancy goose down ones, they're just not going to provide that amount of support. So one thing you can do is you can get a hand towel, you can roll it up lengthwise to form a cylinder and then tuck that into the side of your pillow. Or you can get one of those massage bolsters, stick it in the pillow, and I'll show you what that looks like. But luckily, the pillow companies have figured out what we're up to, and they've created the same situation but in a nice memory foam format for only $19.99. So go ahead and grab one of those pillows if you can get that into your budget. I feel like it's a really great investment for something you're going to be using every night for the next 10 or so years until it breaks down. So why do we need this random cylinder support in the back of our neck anyway? Well, let me show you. All right, so we've got our skeleton here, and we are looking at the front of the body, the back of the body, just for your orientation here. And there's 7 neck bones here, 7 cervical vertebrae, and they form this nice curve in this nice C shape here. And much like the stone arch that's made of stones at the top of a doorway, it's going to be able to resist more pressure than a flat stone would. So we need to maintain that curve of our neck at all times. You need to provide support at night to keep those ligaments from getting stretched out. So over time, with poor posture and or with poor pillow support, those ligaments go into what's called plastic deformation or plastic strain. Now, I'm not going to dive any deeper into that because I still have flashbacks into my civil engineering career where every book weighs like 5 pounds and it just has all these charts and diagrams and stress strain curves explaining the material properties of every type of plastic and steel you can imagine. It's terribly boring, and I don't want to bore you with that. If I could like roll up one of those books into a pillow, I'd have some awesome neck support. Anyway, the point is you don't want those ligaments to over time deform and not be able to bounce back to their proper state. If you don't have ligament support for your head, it's pretty much going to fall off. All right, so you've got that first pillow in the correct place. And a lot of people will need a second pillow underneath their knees. And a lot of that is really individualized to how much curvature you have in your low back, as well as how firm your mattress is. So just do that according to comfort, but really important is to get that neck pillow in the correct position. All right, so let's move on to side sleeping now. In terms of side sleeping, we've got 3 main problems. 1 is neck pain, 2 is shoulder pain, and 3 is hip pain. So we're gonna look at all of those with some clips interspersed of me demonstrating the sleeping positions. So with neck pain, if you were to look at your spine as if someone took the picture from the back of you, right? You want your whole spine to be in one line. You don't want your head tilted up, you don't want your head tilted down, you want it pretty flat, and I'm going to show you a better clip of that in a second. This is showing an example of my head being in line with my spine and the pillow at a correct thickness. And then I'm going to switch the pillow to something that's thicker. And these are just the pillows I had in my office, so it's not an exaggerated example, but a lot of people have really thick pillows, and so my head is almost tilted up. And then here would be an example of a pillow that is too thin, and so my head is tilted down with respect to my spine. With the shoulder position, that's kind of the most tricky positioning. So here is external rotation of the shoulder, and here is internal rotation of the shoulder. When you internally rotate your shoulder, you really crunch down and create some impingement between the arm and the shoulder girdle. And so you don't want to be in this position overnight. It's kind of like a natural fetal position that we all go into. You know, you kind of tuck down and in, but we want to minimize that and get as much external rotation as we can. So I'm going to show you in the clips how to actually do that with the pillow there. But I just want to emphasize that this is external rotation, and that's going to provide a more healthy position for your shoulder on the bottom arm. So here I am sleeping comfortably. My shoulders feel really great. So how did I get into this position? Well, let's talk it through a little bit. So I'm going to sit on up so I can show you external shoulder rotation. Okay, external shoulder rotation. Get that set as you lay down, and then kind of snug the pillow into you. That's going to put your shoulder in the healthiest position possible. Now, if you want to bend your elbow, that's totally fine. That doesn't change the internal or external rotation of your shoulder. So this is showing what people usually do. We kind of collapse down and it doesn't feel that great on the bottom shoulder. Ouch, pointing to the pain. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to show you is how to set a pillow between your knees so that your hips will be in better alignment. So again, reset your shoulder, external rotation, snug the pillow into you, and you'll notice that my hips and my knees are in better alignment than they were when my knee was dropped down, when I didn't have the pillow there. So I'm pointing to my top shoulder. That shoulder is still kind of achy. Without a pillow or a support, your shoulder is just going to kind of collapse into itself. So if you have someone to cuddle your arm around, that works. If not, you bring a pillow and then you wrap your upper arm around it, feeling good. So assuming a healthy spine, when you're awake, you subconsciously activate your muscles in the proper order. So if you were to initiate a movement, first you would brace and stabilize your deep core muscles, then your spinal stabilizers would fire, and then finally your extremity muscles would kick in, just meaning your shoulder, your leg, or your hip muscles would kick in. But when you're asleep, your body sometimes needs just a little bit of a nudge to get that same thing to happen. Now, there, of course, are times in deep sleep when you're not really aware that you're turning over, but how many times have you thought to yourself, oh gosh, like, oh, my hip's getting kind of achy, I think I need to flip to my other side. If you're anything like me, that happens quite a lot. So if there's a few things that you can do to help just make that transition a lot more smooth, and a lot of it has to do with how you pack your neck. Pack your neck? What do you mean, pack it in ice? No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, it's a concept in physiotherapy or weightlifting referring to a closed pack position versus an open pack position. And it basically means to close pack something would just mean to put it in the most stable and braced position possible before you initiate any kind of movement. So for the neck, this means engaging your deep cervical flexors so that the other accessory muscles in the area don't have to try to take over and do a job that they weren't meant to do. So without getting too technical into the anatomy of which particular muscles they are, they're basically like the core of your neck. So you gotta activate your neck core. That sounds super weird. The term hasn't caught on, but basically you really do need to activate that to initiate any kind of safe movement of your neck. And there's a really simple way to do it. So imagine you're laying on your back and you wanna transition into a side sleeping position. Before you do any movement of your body, I just want you to tuck your chin to your chest and then lift your head. So if you just try this right now, lay on your back and don't do any chin tuck, just lift your head off the ground. Okay, maybe it's a strain or a little bit of pain already, and if not now, it probably would be if you had to hold that for 30 seconds. Now try it again, but this time tuck your chin to your chest before you initiate that movement. So it's a much more stable and healthy position for your neck. You might notice this if you go to like a Pilates class or a core class when there's abdominals on your back where you're lifting your head and your chest and your shoulders off the ground. If you have your neck just open like that, it's not going to feel so great. But if you can tuck to your chin to your chest and then lift your head, that's going to be a lot healthier. So that is how you pack your neck in the closed pack position to initiate any kind of sleeping position changes. Now, one caveat, you might notice when you first do this exercise that felt a little weird or it felt a little hard, and that's really common. You're not alone. Oftentimes with our just today's forward posture, computer posture, desk posture, driving posture, these muscles are underworked and they're weak. And so you can actually do this exercise as a standalone exercise. You lay on your back, you tuck your chin, you lift your head, and you keep that chin tucked as you put your head back down, and then you release the chin. And you just do that for reps until you start to feel fatigue. Then you rest about 15 to 30 seconds and you go for another set. And that'll really help build up that neck core. This is showing how to do the chin tuck exercise from a lying down position. So you tuck your chin, lift your head, keep your chin tucked, and release it. I'm going to show another rep here, and then I'm going to show what not to do. Don't just lift your head like that. Make sure you tuck your chin, lift your head, and then this is when you can start transitioning into a different posture. So that is how you not injure yourself while you're sleeping. So if you liked any part of the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. And if you have a particular part of this video that really helped you, please let me know in the comments section, as well as if there's any other questions that you'd like me to address in a future video. I would love to hear your feedback or your comments. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.